Morning.
Greetings. How are you today,
I'm doing
Captain
great.
85, the Dream Maker?
Yeah, I'm still looking marvelous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am so excited. I'm so excited. And of course, I had a little bit of a vacation and
Mhm.
I am back live and in living color. And I bring you greetings. This is Georgia F. Allen with GA for Justice. And as always, we welcome you to our weekly conversation, a
Yep.
conversation for information, a conversation for correction, and always a conversation for transformation. We're living in a highly toxic world right now. And
Yeah.
so we definitely need people with a microphone that will talk to the community directly and talk to them authentically. None of the bull, none of the misinformation, none of the disinformation, but just strictly talking to our community about what is.
Yes.
And that's kind of why I did the name GA for just is. Okay. Is just is always
Yeah.
correct to
No
to
doubt.
give people accurate information. It just is always about providing people with the right information, right temperature, so that they don't go off and do something crazy. We have enough craziness going on in our world right now, and we need someone to balance that out.
Yeah.
Again, we'd like to thank our leader, Mr. Henderson Vaughn. He's our producer, our engineer, the owner. And we just want to thank you so much for the opportunities that you give all of us who come, whether we're on your show personally as a guest of yours,
Mhm.
whether we are hosting our own show where we have an opportunity to bring other guests to the table and inform the community about the things that are happening. Today's show is going to be a little bit about economics, but I tend to have, several conversations about different things. So, but mostly it's going to be about economics, economics, economics. And in keeping with my theme, which I want it to be my theme always, it's about principles. And I use as a baseline the principles of Kwanzaa. And so, in order to have effective, strong, sustainable economics, we need to know how to work together collectively and responsibly. So, collective work and responsibility is key in order to have strong economics in our community. It's also important in terms of sustainability. Having economics today and broke tomorrow is not a good option. We've been here too long. We have worked too hard. Our families, our ancestors have worked too hard for us to keep putting money in a bag with a hole in it. So our economics should be economics that is building toward wealth creation. We should not be spending our money on these big, expensive homes so that we're pocket poor and house rich.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can't take it with you. And it doesn't leave you a lot of options because most of the time, when you're house rich and pocket poor, you don't even have equity in the house. So you can't even borrow from it. You half of the time you're underwater. So
Yeah.
that's why we want to talk about economics, 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 because economics cover a broad spectrum. Economics covers healthcare. If we don't have any money to pay our doctor bills or have any insurance, guess what? When we go into the hospital and get that $10,000 hospital bill, 50,000, 100,000 for certain types of operations, that's our money. That's our pocketbooks. That affects our economics and that affects our wealth. So when we look at economics, we can't look at it in a little teeny tiny vein. We have to broadly look at economics and all the different ways it affects our community. And healthcare is a big one. And the reason why healthcare is such a huge um, situation in our community is because most people declare bankruptcy because they went into the hospital and they got this bill that they couldn't afford to pay. And they paid on it for year after year after year. They were using up what used to be their extra income, disposable income. And now all of a sudden they don't have disposable income. So I want us to take a closer look at economics and don't just look at, I got a job, I get paid, I go and spend my money, and that's it. Let's look at it a little closer than that. Let's look at it in terms of education. That's a big effect on our household. Housing, big effect on our household. Traveling, big effect on our household. And what we purchase. Are we purchasing value or are we purchasing what is of no value? These are the type of things that we as a community, as a people, as a group united have to look at. And so as I open the show today, I want us to start rethinking how we spend our money, what we spend our money on, and who we spend our money with. How we spend our money, what we spend our money on, and who we spend our money with. Because if all we do is make money and give it away to every other community out here, and we don't turn that dollar over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in our own community, guess what? We just put that money in a bag with a hole in it. Just like when we buy a house, and as soon as we purchase that home, we're pocket poor, house rich, but we also are economically poor because guess what? We got another bag with the hole in it.
Yeah.
And with that hole in that bag, guess what? There is no growth. There's only waste. We're losing the whole entire time. And Henderson, I know you have something to say about economics because you've been out here working in the business world for decades. So I know you have something to say about economics.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's difficult when you're trying to build something for the community. And when people see you building something for the community and the community is supporting you, what they say is, of course, because I do a lot of business in Virginia Beach, they would say we are bribing our community. If we give something to our community, you are bribing them. You know, I've had the news media when I had Picasso, they would come up there with the whole new cameras up and lights on. Well, we just heard that we want to ask you a couple of questions. So yeah, go ahead. If we were informed that you are bribing the Lake Edward Civic League to keep the club open, I said, what? I said, why would I have to bribe? You know, when they didn't even know it was a club over here, and they didn't know it was a club.
Right.
The community civic league behind the club ain't but 50 feet from the door. We went to talk to them and they said, it's a club in that shopping center. So how long y'all been there? I said, well, we've been there about 9 years now. And they had the security lady that was part of the civic league. She said, yeah, they've been there about 9 years. She said, how come we just finding out about it when the police department and the ABC board told us they wanted us to partner with them to close it down? That's what they did. But see, people thinking that, you know, it was always, I don't run a club with violence because it's not about the money. It's about the quality of a service that you're putting in the community. What you put out is what you get.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely,
what they do is they try to make out like you are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I had over 30 to 40 employees.
Right.
And 15 of those were security.
So basically, you were building revenue that went back into the city, into their coffers, and they're giving you a hard time.
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to get people to understand when I talk about it, when they talk about the history. Because all you got to do, like I tell people, if we were open to 3 and 4 in the morning, where did the people leave? Where did they go? They didn't go home. They went to all the restaurants.
Right.
And then you go to the restaurants now.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. So that there again, you build an economics in the city,
right.
but outside of your club, a lot of that economics was not leaving your club and going to other places within the community and
Right.
spending money
Yeah.
with businesses that are our Black owned businesses. So
There
I
you
hope
go.
today, as folks listen to what we share, that they begin to think just a teeny bit differently about how they can begin to redirect dollars back into the Black community.
Mhm.
And you can maybe start out saying, I am going to support one Black business every month. I'm going
Yeah.
to support one Black business every month. Then next month, you can say, I'm going to support two Black businesses this month. And then the next month, three, and the next month, four. So once a week, you can support at least one Black business. And as you do that and share that with your friends and family, they can do likewise. And what will ultimately happen is now some of these Black businesses who may have one or two employees might be in a position to hire one more, or might be in a position to hire two part-time people. And
Right.
what does that do? That gives our community a place where our young people may be able to go to work, and it takes them off the street. And what did we do? All we did was something very simple.
Yeah.
Started very simple. And if anybody knows me, I always try to look at things simplistically, because I don't want to, you know, throw something out that is so huge and then people say, well, I'm not going to do anything. My goal is to get our community engaged. I have Black owned businesses that I like to shop with, so I go around and find them. And if I shop with them and they do good, I come back and shop with them again. If they don't, I don't get angry with them. You know what I do? I
Right.
pull them to the side and I speak to them and I share with them and say, look, these are the things that I see. Or if I have never shopped there before and someone said, such and such a shop, I went there and I wasn't pleased, I'll always ask them, did you talk to them about it? Economics, economics, economics. We cannot change anything that we do not communicate. So
Right.
it's up to us to begin to communicate better within our community. Because if we don't, we're going to lose a lot of the businesses who are out there bringing opportunities to people who look like us. And that's critically important.
Yeah.
Absolutely important. So we are looking for our guest.
They,
All right. And so I want to introduce, and you can bring her on. I'm going to let her here as we introduce her. All right. We have Stephanie Ferebee. Stephanie was actually born and raised in the 90s. Okay. And she began on the beautiful day of May 24 in Chesapeake, Virginia. She relocated with her family at the age of 13 to Norfolk. She enjoys new jack swing, rap, hip hop, soul, R&B, and one of my favorite, jazz, along with neo soul. So she has been actively involved in the Hampton Roads area and in for over 15 years. Stephanie used to own a home inspection company called Ferebee 757 Inspections, and that's how I originally met her. And she provided home inspections from 2009 until 2014. She became a guest speaker, and she assisted with facilitating home buyers workshops through the Virginia Department of Housing and also the Urban League of Hampton Roads. Stephanie is a mother, educator, writer, author, activist, entrepreneur, orator, artist, and motivator. Stephanie and her son and daughter are her inspiration. for the many things that she does. In 2020, Ms. Ferebee welcomed being self employed for the second time, and her company is Culture by LE. And that brand is dedicated to highlighting the victorious contributions of Native African ancestry in the 757 area and beyond. Black heritage and culture is essential for family upbringing. Connecting with the true body of history is significant for self awareness. With that being said, we are pleased, honored, and excited to have Stephanie with us today talking economics, economics, economics. Hello, Stephanie. Hi there.
Hey,
How
hey,
are you?
I'm very well. Let me line this camera up so I can get my shirt in here. Okay,
All
there we
right.
go. Yes.
Okay. Is
Hey,
that one of your shirts that's on the website that we're going to be able to go online and purchase perhaps?
yes, indeed. This is the 757 t-shirt. And I have the t-shirts labeled for the females, Empress t-shirt. So I'm currently wearing the 757 Empress t-shirt. And for the males, the 757 t-shirt is labeled as the King t-shirt. And yes, this shirt is dedicated to the cities of the 757 and also the Black history, the Black ancestors who built the United States. So yes, this t-shirt can be purchased along with quite a few other things online at culturebyele.co. And speaking of economics and cooperative economics, the online souvenir shop will be having its first online store-wide sale this weekend, Friday, beginning tomorrow through Sunday, in honor of Nat Turner's event.
Okay.
All unique and eclectic gifts will be the cost of all unique and eclectic gifts will be slashed in half in honor of our fellow ancestor Nat Turner. So feel free to go online at culturebyele.co. Take a look at the content. There's lots of content that
All right.
contains information about the victorious contributions of our ancestors and also the online souvenir shop. We have lots of gifts. So yes, cooperative economics. Let's go.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's all about us promoting one another. It's all about supporting one another. Don't just promote, support.
Yes, indeed.
Hmm. And so tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you do have in your shop so that people can hear about it. And because we want to make sure that we get your information out there. As a matter of fact, I got a family reunion coming up this weekend. And so what I want to do is I want to see if I can get a few items so that I can wear it and just kind of show it off.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I have t-shirts and I like to call the t-shirts cultural wear, and there will be other elements of clothing coming that's dedicated to our culture as Black people. I also have another t-shirt that I've talked about quite a bit and which I happen to love, which is in commemoration of our fellow ancestor James Lafayette and Ellen Bond, aka Mary Bowser. I have cultural jewelry. This piece that I'm wearing here, let me
Hmm.
see if I can pull it up to the screen. Okay.
Yes.
This piece that
Beautiful.
I'm wearing here is called Janame. And Janame is a visual representation of the Creator's authority. It's also one of many Adinkra symbols which derive from the people of Ghana. And Adinkra symbols are well to do sayings. I have these earrings that I'm wearing now. I like to call these elegance earrings. And
Okay.
they come in red, black, and green. What else do I have online? Calendars. The 2022 Virginia Native Calendar is online as well. And the calendar talks about 13 of our pioneers and trailblazers. There's a different person of our ancestry that's featured by the month. And there's a description of their contributions. And also, the calendar contains information about various Black holidays, celebrations, occasions, and Black revolutionaries and Virginia natives are also highlighted on the date of their birth of the month. So, yes, those are the things that we have. You could also check out our blog section at culturebyele.co to read up on other Virginia natives, past, present, and future.
Okay.
Yes,
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, today's show is about cooperative economics, collective working responsibility. And I use those two together, because it's hard to have economics if we're not going to work cooperative together, if we're not going to be collective in our efforts to work together to help one another build our businesses. So,
Right.
um, in your case, um, how can we um, help you so that you can ultimately be able to hire other people? Even though it's an online business, there's somebody that's got to sit behind the computer screen and handle business. As money is coming in, there has to be someone that sits behind the desk to handle the accounting and all of these various areas. And those jobs come into play as we increase your business, as we do more business with you and increase the amount of money that you make on an annual basis. And
Yeah.
so this is critical to us to make sure that we don't look at an online business as something, well, we don't really have to buy a lot from them, we buy a little, and they're going to make money there at their house or whatever. But in order to grow an online business and hire additional people and create jobs, we do have to support your online business just like we support a storefront business.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
share with
see,
the audience about that.
yes, the beauty of having a business online is, the reduced costs.
Mhm.
I don't have to pay for a storefront. But also, the beauty of having a business in general is independence. And in order for a business to grow and sustain, reciprocation is the key. It's not always about money, although we work for money, but there are other ways that a business could, grow through support, which is, through sharing. You know,
Mhm.
Tell someone about the things that you enjoy about a particular business. And when people see the enthusiasm of you or the person who's sharing, then they'll be inclined to go and look at the business and buy something. They see you wearing something with confidence. Oh, where you get that from? I got that from
Right,
Culture.le. Go check it out.
right.
Other ways to reciprocate, bartering. You know, um, Everybody has a strength. And
Mhm.
so there may be a strength in marketing, promotion, development, branding, and various things. So, working together on that front can also be a benefit to a business.
Absolutely. And so hopefully to the listening audience, again, we have Stephanie O. Ferebee. She's with Culture by LE, and she's just sharing some important tips with regards to business ownership, but also with regards to um, having, the support from her own community. um, I was listening to Dr. Greg Carr, and he was saying currency is a proxy for value. So
Mhm.
basically, we look at our people a lot of times, and we're like, "Oh God, um, are we getting any real money?" And
Mhm.
when he said that, I had to sit back and I had to think, and I was like, "Currency, a proxy for value." So we have to have something of value to receive some type of currency. Okay.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
we look at our athletes to the sport world, their value is how well they perform. So
Right.
therefore, hmm, that value, you know, ultimately transfers into some type of currency at
Mhm.
some point in time. And so um, we need people to understand that you are providing value and you
Yes,
provide currency, and that currency helps them and it helps you too.
definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
I was listening in earlier before I came on, and we were talking about, how the dollars, don't stay in our communities. And the piece that I like to add to that, which is something that's been spoken of before, is the fact that, okay, when you go to other communities, do you see Black owned stores in their areas? Do you see Black people, owning convenience stores? Do you see Black people owning clothing stores, banks, grocery stores, doctors, so on and so forth? As a community and body of people, we work for other people. We work for people of other ethnicities who own corporations and things of that nature. So we're currently outsourcing because when we come home, whether we go home to our neighborhoods, wherever they are, whether they're in the hood, whether they're in the suburbs, or wherever, when we go to receive other services, whether it's a convenience store, whether it's for our health, or whether it's grocery shopping, so on and so forth, we're still outsourcing because we don't support our own businesses. That's what we have to do. That's what we
Absolutely.
have to do in order to sustain as a body of people. And it's not hard to do. One part about doing that in some cases is the fact that we don't know of these things. And again, that's where the reciprocation comes in at. If you got a good thing, what's wrong with sharing it? What's wrong with letting somebody else know that this corner store, this market over here, they got good quality meats. So you can go there instead of going to, the other store brands or whatnot. We have more to offer besides, generic services, food preparation and style, hair care services. We're bigger than that. And we need to be able to get that out there. We need that to be known. There are a lot of black owned beauty supply stores in the area. One out here off of Granby Street. What is it? Ward's Corner. There's one in Hampton by the university. And I believe there's still one in Virginia Beach. We have to support those. Just because the Chinese people are right up the street, do they come in buy your soul food? Do they go to your doctor's offices?
Right.
Do they support your grocery stores? But you go on to support them. You gotta spend money where it's at. Spend money with your people. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is so important. It's really interesting. Years ago, one of the themes that the NAACP had was don't talk about it, be about it. That was on our t-shirts, that was on our hats, it was on all of our paraphernalia, because they kept encouraging. Can you imagine having to encourage civil rights activists? Here they are supposed to be fighting on your behalf, and you go to a convention and they have to encourage you to
Yeah,
support your own businesses. And so, unfortunately, it has been ingrained in us so long to go and buy from the oppressor instead of buying to uplift the oppressed. Okay, can I
yes.
say that again? We can
Say it
stop
again.
buying from the oppressor and go and purchase from and lift up the oppressed. So go ahead.
Yes. And another thing that I like to add to that piece is, sometimes when we shop in our stores, unfortunately, the cost of the merchandise, the goods and services that we're purchasing may be a bit more on the expensive end. Well, you got to look at that too. You got to look at everything from the cost of purchasing your goods and the way that, unfortunately, in instances, our goods and our services and our stores and products are being treated. You can't go in and do a five-figure discount again on your own people and then turn around and pay full price or service or cost because it's cheaper. It's a reason why it's more expensive in some cases, not all, but some.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times we don't understand as a community, that if you can't buy in the same bulk that this group over here can buy in, because maybe they are buying as a whole entire collective. So if I own a Chinese store and I need noodles, I'm not buying noodles for my one Chinese store.
Hmm.
The whole entire Chinese community is buying. And then we go in and we pull off the shelf our portion, that portion, but we're getting it at the same lower price. And so our community has to understand that it's important. And I tell barbershops this all the time. You guys buy all the same thing, that little white thing that you put around our neck, the little what do you call it? Apron that you throw across us, all of those things, the type of products that you use, all of those things. Why are you buying that stuff as an individual barbershop or beauty salon? Why don't you come together? And even if you start out with all the barbershops in the Green Run area that are
Hmm.
black, we're going to first start, and then we go to the next area. We go over to Princess Anne Plaza, and then we go down the street to the next area, and we keep doing that, and we keep adding more and more to our group of barber and beauty salons. And we are now able to purchase the same products at a much lower rate, provide our community with continued good service. But now we might be able to drop some of our prices, and
Yeah.
that's good for us. It's good for them, because guess what? Now we have a larger group of people that are coming across our doorstep.
Yeah.
So if we're selling to more people, we're
Mm-hmm.
still increasing the amount of profit that we're making. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is something that we have to understand. And again, if you don't want to start off and say every black barbershop and beauty shop in the whole city of Virginia Beach, let's come together right now, then just start with 10. Okay. And let's see how much of a price break you can get when you're
Right.
purchasing together under the same umbrella. And
Right.
then if it's working, then increase and say, okay, well, I want to invite you into the group, and I'll invite you. And you keep doing that until hopefully, ultimately, you have everybody in the one city. And then you expand that on into the next city, in the next city, and your discounts can get lower and lower and lower. It is
Mm-hmm.
critically important that we do collective work and responsibility along with our cooperative economics. It
Yeah.
is a must.
Yes. When you break that word down, cooperative, working together, economics, building,
Mhm.
building upon a financial foundation. That's what it is.
Did you have something, Henderson? You look like you wanted to share something with us.
Oh well, I
And
mean,
we
y'all won't.
always look. Look. You've done this a long time.
Well, it's always y'all are on point because if you can't buy in bulk, you're
Mhm.
paying a full price for something that affects the bottom line. So you
Yeah.
always have to be able to understand when purchasing stuff how you can purchase in bulk or how you can purchase at one time. And like I would when I go in and take over a business or manage a business, I have to look at all their paperwork, so I can see where is the waste. You have
Right.
waste in a business, so you got to cut out the waste before you can make a profit,
Mhm.
and you have to minimize the number of people you have on payroll when going in and trying to restructure. So you have to say, well, I don't need five security on a Monday night. Why do I have five security coming in at $10 to $15 an hour, and I'm only going to have about 50 people?
Right.
You're only supposed to have any type of numbers are by the number of people that's going to come into your establishment. So
Mm-hmm.
you gear up for the number of people you expect. But once you begin to increase, then you increase. So we have to learn to work together and
Mhm.
support one another. I can't buy everything you got, but at least I could say I stopped by and I bought a T-shirt.
Mhm.
Or you had some earrings I thought my wife might like. So I buy the earrings. We all can buy something, but
Absolutely.
people thinking like when you got a business, because you got a t-shirt and they got a t-shirt, they don't want people to know about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different
Mm-hmm.
t-shirt, man. So
It is.
Absolutely.
so
It is.
y'all are hitting on basically the importance of the bottom line. It's the bottom line that we sometimes fail to realize. You know.
Absolutely. And that's excellent information to share. Go right ahead, Stephanie.
Oh, well, I'm just gauging in. I, really don't know what to say from here, but, visit culturebyLE.co.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go. There you go. I mean, you definitely want to let people know that you're out here. Um, have you found any particular companies that you can collaborate with? That's also helpful, because
Yes.
then we can support you and maybe support that company as well if they have things that we need.
Yes. Yes. Well, I like to shout out MES Enterprise Plus. We've done lots of great work together and, wonderful company, sufficient, worth recognition, worth sending clients to.
And
And
where are
they're
they located?
Well, they're located here. in the 757, and you can visit the Facebook page for MES Enterprise Plus, MES Enterprise Plus LLC. Also, Spanky Reborns. And there are a few other companies that I'm in the process of collaborating with. And so, as we begin to work together, definitely, the shout outs and the reciprocation will get its just due.
Okay. And what type of work does MES Enterprise do? What are some of the things
Well,
they do?
they do a lot of things with business development.
Oh,
Mez Enterprise Plus was very instrumental in the development of Culture by LE.
okay.
Uh, Very quality work, uh, work of value, and good quality service.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. And see, that's something that people need to know because a lot of times we think that there's companies from other communities that, well, they're just gonna, they know what they're doing. That's the people that we need to go to. Well, we also need to know who are some of these other people out here that we can use instead of that company. So
right.
MES Enterprise
Plus LLC. And the
Plus.
thing of it is, yes, and the thing of it is, getting a business license is the easy part. You can
Mhm.
pay to get that. And also in Virginia, before you could get your business license, oh my God, it slips my mind. Articles of organization.
Mhm.
Yes, you have to pay the $100 fee to obtain your article of organization before you could go to your city to purchase the business license. And you do that through the State Corp Commission, Virginia State Corp Commission.
Mhm.
And through the Virginia State Court Commission, you can call them and ask them any questions. I called and had them walk me through this process because
Mhm.
I wasn't trying to get it wrong and I wasn't trying to have to pay another fee if necessary. So
Right.
these are the basics of what you need to know. Um, Also, in planning a business and things of that nature, or getting a business, you need to know the different structures.
Mhm.
There's the sole proprietorship, the LLC, and the different corporations. So know the type of business structure that you want to go into before you get that license. Now you can change your business structure at any time, but knowing the benefits of each structure is definitely a plus for you because business is a different level of responsibility. It's
Mhm.
not just something that you could say that you have. You got fees and you have other liabilities that are associated with that.
Absolutely. Great information.
Thank you.
Absolutely great information.
Thank
And
you.
and I definitely value you coming on, speaking with the listening audience, because sometimes we have to tell our people things not just one time, not just twice, not just three times, but over and over again,
Yes.
because a lot of times maybe they're apprehensive. A lot of times there's that fear factor in doing
Yeah.
something that's new or something that's different,
Mm-hmm.
but economics is critically important. If we look back at our history, a lot of the communities, everything was fully taken care of. Our doctor was in our community, the dentist was in our
Yeah.
community, the grocery stores, um, pretty much everything that we needed was right there in the community. Our barbershop salons, but the wigs and the hair, we
Mm-hmm.
own that. Today, a lot of that stuff we don't own anymore. We have
Right.
to buy from foreigners and wear their products and all. Whereas in the past, we owned a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very, very important for us to understand that we are responsible for ourselves. And it's up to us to begin to work together again. I mean, it may be a little bit of a process because we kind of walked away from things that we didn't think was quite as nice or quite as good as others when desegregation took place. But what we lost our Black owned banks, we lost our Black owned insurance companies, we lost a ton of Black owned businesses.
Yeah.
We lost Black-owned bus companies. We lost
Yes.
Black-owned taxi cab companies, which could have easily have converted today into the Uber of today had we kept all of those businesses that we lost because of integration. Um, and so economics is the key. I
Yes.
tell folks all the time, economics is the key to long-term sustainable success. Because
Yes.
if you have money, we can build our own schools, teach our own children, and not have to be in the middle of these school board meetings deciding whether they want to put Harriet Tubman in the school, Harriet Tubman's school book in the school, whether they
Mhm.
want to put Dr. Martin Luther King writings in the school, or what have you. So it's time for us to own ourselves. I call it woo. We own ourselves.
All right.
Okay.
Woo!
Woo. You
And
own.
the thing of it is, we were a very self-sufficient people during
Absolutely.
the era of Reconstruction,
Mhm.
during the early 1900s, during the era of the Harlem Renaissance, and even during and after the Civil Rights Movement. I
Right.
like what you said earlier. You were saying something about, if you visit a business and you're not, satisfied with the service, you'll pull them to the side and talk
Right.
to them. You'll pull the owner or whoever's
Mhm.
at the place aside and talk to them. And that's important
Yeah.
because when you have those personal conversations, it's
Mhm.
not something out there on Front Street. You're not putting somebody on blast. You put
Absolutely.
somebody on blast, of course, they're going to bark back. You know what I'm saying? But, if you pull them to the side,
Mhm.
that's giving them the respect that they deserve. Because a lot of times when you're in business, especially starting off,
Mhm.
as a sole entrepreneur, you're the one that wears all of the hats and you
Mhm.
do everything until you grow into the position to be able to hire people to work along beside you, work
Mhm.
along with you. And
Right.
so, quite naturally, if you're doing everything, you may miss something innocently. And
Mhm.
so, with the right person, gesture, and candor,
Mhm.
okay, you throw in a suggestion out there, it's something that could be taken into consideration
Right. And
to
then to the
improve the quality
business
of
owner,
service.
go ahead. To the business owner, be willing to accept. I changed that. I hate that word constructive criticism. I like to call it something else, and I can't think of it right now. But I think it should be constructive, but I don't think it should be criticism. I think uh, it should be called something else. Okay. Because what we're supposed to do is help one another. We should not be running around criticizing. And if there is something not right at some of these high profile, larger box stores or whatever, you almost never hear our community picking up the phone calling. But you know what? When I went to McDonald's, it was just terrible. When I went over here to so and so, it was just terrible. You saw I had to not
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
I caught myself
yeah.
'cause- but we don't tend to do that. But if our people make one teeny tiny mistake, we will drag them instead of saying, you know what? Maybe it was a bad day. Do you know whether or not they may have lost a loved one? Do you know whether or not
I like that discussion
constructive
about
advice? Yes.
boom.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Tony. Yes. Yes. Let's
yes,
let's be constructive. Don't sit here and always criticize because keep in mind some of us are just getting involved in business ownership and it's brand new. Okay. And so
yes.
let us help each other. And I know it's coming to a close because you got to get ready to go. So I want you to close us out with your final comments. And then after that, we're going to go into the next segment.
But before she comment,
Okay.
plus I do have, one of her shirts
All
on
right.
so people can see that she
Okay.
has, these are
Slide it over. Slide it
uh,
over.
that they are
Yes.
in the bag,
Beautiful.
and
Yes.
it's
Beautiful.
multiple colors on there. But what I wanted to ask you, because you do all your research, I see you got, history 366.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
explain that right quick before?
Yes. Black History 366. We cannot forget about leap year, you
Right.
know. And so it's every day. It's not just in the
Every
month of
day.
February. And speaking of the month of February, you know, some people like to say, why is Black History in the month of February the shortest month of the year? It's because Dr. Carter G. Woodson, one of our Virginia natives and the father of Black history, founded Black History Week in 1926. And Black History Week was dedicated to Frederick Douglass and another person whose birthday is in the same week of February.
Right.
And so the history of Black History Week turning into Black History Month in the 1960s, there was a 5-month long protest at California State University because the students were not satisfied with the curriculum. The curriculum did not contain anything about Black history, Black heritage, Black ancestry. It was all Europeanized, Eurocentric. And so after that 5-month long protest, Black history was incorporated into California State. Kent State began celebrating Black History Month in the late 60s, 70s annually. And in 1970, Black History Month was recognized by the president at the time. And ever since then, Black History Month has been something that we can embrace. Another thing, we don't have to wait for the government to tell us to celebrate ourselves. Now, the thing
Absolutely.
with Juneteenth, a lot of us didn't know about Juneteenth. And now that it's a federal holiday, we do know. But there are other holidays, there are other events that we could celebrate, like Nat Turner's Avenge, that took place on August 21st, 1831, right here in Southampton County, Virginia, which is like maybe an hour, 15 minutes away, give or take from this area north of the seven cities or whatnot.
Mhm.
And so, yes, there's a lot that we could celebrate. Kwanzaa, of course, we could celebrate that, and so many other things. So, and you can find out more about our cultural treasures here in Virginia, holidays, our Virginia natives, and that was the Virginia natives T-shirt that the Dream Maker shared and asked me about. The Black History 366. You can visit culturebyali.co to get more information, read up on the victorious contributions of our ancestors. And you can also visit the online souvenir shop at culturebyali.go to purchase some unique and eclectic gifts in commemoration of our history, culture, ancestry, and so much more. Because Culture by Ali is where we proudly honor Virginia's Black ancestral legacy and heritage and Black history around the globe.
Thank you so much.
You're
So,
welcome.
are those your final comments, or do you have something else you want to share?
This weekend, we're having our first online store-wide discount in honor of Nat Turner's event. So starting tomorrow, Friday, August 19th, all the way up and through Sunday, August the 21st, everything at the online souvenir shop will be slashed in half at 50% off. So you can take a look at, you can go visit the online souvenir shop today. If you like something, you can get it half price all weekend long.
All right. Well, thank you so much for visiting with us today. I hope this information has been helpful to all
Yeah.
the listening audience. Continue to click on, share the link. Of course, once it goes off, we're going to be on YouTube. You can
Yes.
share it on all your YouTube platforms and Instagram, Facebook, all the different platforms that you have.
Mhm.
And keep pushing it out there because our people need to hear that we are working together. Our people need to hear that we do own our own businesses. And our people need to hear that we understand cooperative economics and that we do collectively work together. So, thank you again, Stephanie, for being here. We look forward to talking with you again. And we'll go online, take a look today, and then go online tomorrow to get that discount.
That's right. And
All
thank you once
right.
again for having me on. And both of you enjoy your day.
All right. You do the same. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard from our very special guest, Miss Stephanie Ferebee with Culture by LE.co. So that's .co, not .com. So make sure you do Culture by LE.co. Go online, tell your friends to go online, reach out to friends and relatives. Let's see if we can blow her website up this weekend and buy black. Okay. All righty. Well, on the final segment of the show today, I'm going to do what I always do. I always talk about voting. I strongly believe that it's critically important that we vote. And I also believe that it's critically important that we investigate those who are running for office, the various candidates. Don't just walk down to the polling place and just press the button. Either have persons that you have confidence in, that you know are going to point you in the right direction, or do your own research. I know when it comes to my granddaughter, when it comes to my daughter, they're like, okay, Ma, okay. My granddaughter doesn't call me grandma, she calls me Ba. Okay, Ba, who am I supposed to vote for? Okay. And so she picks up the phone and she asks me the question. And so I share with her a little bit about the different people that I'm running for office. I don't just say, well, vote for this person because I like them. I have her to vote for that person because that person should be bringing value. The other thing that I remind them to do is check on them from time. I think that is so critically important because we have a tendency to just vote on election day or vote early or whatever for persons running for office, but we don't hold them accountable. And it's critically important that we begin to hold these people accountable. So just to get you informed, the first day of in-person voting, or what they call absentee voting, is September the 23rd, 2022. Now, in-person voting will end on 11/5/2022 at 5 p.m. This year, election day is November the 8th, 2022. The deadline to register to vote is October 17, 2022. Now, say for instance, you don't want to go in person, you don't want to go on election day, but you'd like to have absentee ballot mailed to you. You need to request that ballot by October the 28th, but it has to be back into the voter's office by November the 8th. So get it and get it back right away, because you don't want to go through the trouble of ordering a ballot, filling it out, but you never either took it back in person or dropped it in the mail to get there. I believe that voting is critical. A lot of people are very upset with what's going on in the political realm. And so they're like, I don't want to vote. Nothing seems to be happening. Well, something is always happening. You just have to track and follow what is happening. Okay. And don't rely on other people to do it for you. If you're members of social organizations, hopefully those social organizations will tell you the information with regards of who your elected officials are, how they vote. Do they vote for the issues that you care about? You shouldn't be so concerned about so much the political affiliation unless you have a real angst towards somebody. But that angst should be toward that person because of who that person is, not just because of what party they are affiliated with. Because if you got that angst, they probably would be equally as offensive in either party, okay? They would probably be equally as offensive, regardless of the political party they are in, because that is who that person is. Again, I wanted to spend this time to share with you. Election day is November the 8th. Do your research. In the city of Virginia Beach, we have a new election process. We are able to have 10 districts. In the past, we had 7 districts and 4 at large. And one of those at large seats was actually the mayor. So you had 3 at large city council members, 7, 11. No, I'm sorry. Yes, 7 and 3. I had to make sure I had an odd number here. Okay, you had 7 districts, 3 at large, and then of course the mayor is at large because you want 11 members. You always want an odd number so somebody can break the tie. So anyway, keep in mind that is what we had in the past. Also, wherever you lived in the city, you could vote for every candidate that was out there. Well, what was negative about that is if you lived in a district and you had a candidate from your district, you knew them, they were actively involved in your community, they were an activist, they worked on issues, they went before city council, they fought for their things, for their community, for their neighborhoods and all. Even though you liked that person in that 7-member district and you were in that district, let's say Bayside, for instance, and you truly like that person, the rest of the city could vote for the person that you like and still keep them from serving on city council. Now, with the 10 district member system, you can actually get your community to support one candidate, a candidate that you believe will work in your best interest. And so you have it's much easier to elect them now, because before you had to run in a city of over 400 and some thousand people. Now, a person who's running for office runs in a district of approximately 48,000 members, but voting age population, or what they call VAP, there's only about 36,000. That means you have a real good chance of being able to shake hands with almost every single person who's eligible to vote in your district. You also can go to a door to shake someone's hand and ask them, are you voting this year? And they say, no, I can't vote. You can find out whether or not that person can't vote because they're just not registered, or they can't vote because maybe they've had a felony or what have you. You can give them the information and tell them, look, you can go to this organization. They can sit down with you and determine whether or not you can get your voting rights restored. That will allow persons who may have made a mistake when they were young, they came back into society, they are contributors to society, and now they're able to vote. So we want everybody to vote. And for those people who cannot vote, I encourage you, talk to your family and friends and say, look, while I may not be able to vote, since you're able to, please vote on my behalf. So with that being said, this is GA for Justice, always an activist, always interested in the well-being of our community. We're bringing the show to a close, and we welcome you to come back next week, same time, same station, WVDM 757. Again, this is Georgia Allen, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, 12 noon to 1 o'clock, and have a wonderful day.
And you've been listening and watching GA for Justice with Georgia Allen, and want you to hit that share link and share it with other people on your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we'll be up. Thank you for listening and watching. Until next week, this is GA for Justice on WVDM Network. Goodbye.